Pain. It's something that every one of us has gone through at one point in our lives, and it manifests itself in many different forms. Maybe you've lost someone near and dear to you, and now you're left with an aching pain in your heart. Or perhaps you've witnessed an injury so gruesome that even looking at it hurts. Well, what about a schizophrenic patient with major depression battling their demons brought forth from their own subconscious? That last one may have been a bit specific, but that's because that's the best way to summarize a survival horror game simply called Cry of Fear. Once a Half-Life mod in 2012, it was released once again in 2013 as a standalone product. Made by this genius, Andreas, or as the internet would know him, Rumpel. He was responsible for composing the music in Cry of Fear. Along with the texturing, modeling, character writing, character designing, character developing, game development, etc., etc. Texturing, designing, and crafting an entire game sounds like a lot of work, but it would start to make a lot of sense when you realize that Andreas, when he was 12 years old, created another Half-Life mod in 2005 named Afraid of Monsters. Both of these games dive deep into a troubled person's subconscious, amplified by the use of drugs. Each monster, each location, each ending in either game showcases an eerie narrative. The narrative of what can spawn in one's obsession of pain. Cry of Fear and Afraid of Monsters both tell a visually compelling story through the characters, through the enemies, locations, thoughts, tell an entire story of the cycle of pain. But as I said earlier, Afraid of Monsters is the game that crawled, which allowed Cry of Fear to run. So before we can even think about going into Cry of Fear, we need to first deep dive into the world, into the subject, into the psyche of David Leatherhoff's Afraid of Monsters. Afraid of Monsters begins showing us the halls of the hospital, named Markland Hospital. We then see a man enter a restroom. This is David Leatherhoff, a man addicted to some mystery pills. He tells himself he needs to take these pills, laments it even. And when doing so, he's off on another trip. Plunged into absolute darkness, he asks himself, where am I? Forced to traverse his mental state. Eyes can be seen watching him, moans can be heard all around him. And a voice straight from the Mandela catalog murmurs, okay, I'm coming over there, I'm coming. Pause, I'm on my way. And one jump scare later, and he seemingly awakens, noting he must have passed out from the drugs. The hospital now darkened, and the blood can be found everywhere. He finds a knife in one of the restrooms and gets jump scared by a random PNG file. What the fuck was that? A few strange details later, David makes his way to the basement, cutting off all the lights. This is where the nightmare begins. Monsters begin to spawn, Twitchers the game calls them. These enemies can be found in a number of different reskins throughout the game. But look closely, look at each and every one of them, and what do you notice? They're dressed like normal, everyday people. Sometimes construction uniforms or just sometimes streetwear. A grim detail we'll revisit later. Escaping to the lower level of the hospital, getting jump scared, and killing hordes of Twitchers, then crawling through the vents and somehow making it into the school. Now, can I just take right now to glaze the sound design in this game? Afraid of Monsters uses the uncomfortability of silence perfectly. The game isn't above getting a cheap jump scare or two, trust me, I know. But in doing so, you begin to expect something when you turn that corner, and then boom, there's nothing, just silence. Or the good old MP3 file playing again. After escaping the worst platform obstacle known to man, David ends up in a garage.
Huh? Let me tell you something.
Fighting his way through hordes of zombie dogs. David exits the garage and makes his way to the warehouse, killing more Twitchers, getting spooked, rinse and repeat.
What the fuck?
In the later half of the game, it's mostly just a lot of the same, until finally getting into a car, then crashing that bitch in the woods.
Oh my god.
David goes home to home, killing everything in sight, leaving blood pass everywhere he goes, making his way into a mansion and doing much of the same, until finally crawling into an unlit fireplace just to end up back in that dark void from the very beginning of the game. Pressing forward, the walls become stained with blood, floating cages appear where weeping can be heard from the insides. Waves of enemies stand in the way, but David makes quick work of them, coming across a door with bloody messages on them. "Stay away! Die!" they shout. David ignores them, pressing forward, coming across a ladder. Follow the red, follow the red, follow the red. Then and with that, the big plot twist is revealed. David Leatherhoff was not fighting monsters. He was fighting regular people. All those people you were running down and gunning down throughout the game were nothing more than mere bystanders. Construction workers literally just doing their jobs, and teachers closing up for the night. That fucking hurt. Nurses and doctors trying to stop your drug-induced stampede. When you think back on the game, later parts of the game, you are literally in the forest, breaking into people's homes with a shotgun, obliterating them, killing them within their homes. As a way of comparing it to another piece of media that I'm a fan of, well, if you know Black Mirror, called Men Against Fire, it actually follows a soldier who has a chip, which it was implanted in his head, and it blocks him from seeing blood and gore and everything else, and it also makes him view whatever he's fighting as monsters. And when it malfunctions, he starts seeing the people for who they are, much like David Leatherhoff. And there's another piece of media, another video game actually called Spec Ops: The Line. It follows another soldier who's going out in the line of duty, and I think he's going there to do a rescue mission. He gets there, it's not so black and white. He's fighting against bandits, he's fighting against everything, and by the end of it, you're fucking nuking the place. But you're doing all these things thinking that you're the hero, but in actuality, war crimes, murdering of just random civilians. It's false narrative, and that's what this game is. It's a false narrative of David's point of view. I digress. After the credits roll, the game tells you to go down other paths to receive 3 other endings. If it isn't already apparent, I ain't that great with horror. What? So, no, I won't be doing that, but thanks to FunChannel of 2015, we're able to actually see the other 3 endings. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Why did I count that? I don't fucking know. So just as the game said, there are 3 other paths you can find yourself traversing. The first 3 follow a linear path of storytelling. The first one, which is the one we actually got, reveals that David was actually murdering innocent people and not just monsters. The second, we see David being interrogated by the police. They list his crimes, and we see David lower his head in shame. The third is arguably the darkest ending of the bunch, so be warned. It shows a prison guard walking by David's jail cell, showcasing David's hanging body. He couldn't live with what he did, so he took his own life. These 3 endings, we can go ahead and just label them as the bad ending. They all follow the same path of events, you just kill different innocent people to get there. Now the 4th ending, which I said earlier, is considered the best ending, showcases an entirely different outcome. But before the outcome, we need to first be introduced to an important antagonist, the addiction, which is the manifestation of David's mummified dead body. It doesn't take damage from anything David throws at it, everything except a spear. Why a spear? Well, after a grand total of 1 minute of research, all I can come up with is apparently the spear represents inner strength and power, which makes a lot of sense. David Leatherhoff is using his inner strength to kill his addiction. It would match up. But then I continued to research. Apparently a spear is good for leadership, courage, aggressiveness. I'm sitting here just like, I'm gonna just go with the first one. This is what I do for math. If I'm trying to solve for 50 plus 50 and then I get 98 and then the answer is 100, I'm going with the 100 because that's the closest one. Jokes aside, after stabbing the addiction enough times, it will fall, resulting in this cutscene. That's right. The game ends where the game began. David Leatherhoff actually has a happy ending. In this ending, it shows that David had simply overdosed, and everything that we witnessed throughout the game was a form of his inner turmoil, him coming to grips with his addiction, and at the end, with the spear, using that inner strength to defeat the addiction and come out of it alive. Afraid of Monsters is just that. It's a story about a man who is afraid of his monsters. It's just ironic that he himself is that monster. He fears what he could become when he's on the pills. He fears what he could become if he continues down this road of addiction. That's the story of David Leatherhoff. His physical, his mental, negating that pain. That's his fear of monsters. My face itches. No, but seriously, Afraid of Monsters really is a game about pain. Bringing it back to my original point, Cry of Fear and Afraid of Monsters deep dive on a man's subconscious and what fear truly is to that individual person. For David Leatherhoff, that fear is the fear of himself, and for Cry of Fear, we're gonna get into that. So stay strapped, because Cry of Fear is next.
Felt alone my whole life, for as long as I can remember. I don't know if I like it or if I'm just used to it, but I do know this: being lonely does things to you. Feeling shit and bitter and angry all the time just eats away at you.
Much like Afraid of Monsters, Cry of Fear begins with an open cinematic, giving us an idea of the tone and setting that Cry of Fear will take place in. We then meet Simon, who is sitting on a train looking depressed, or more accurately, looking more distraught than anything else. Soon after, Simon is shown walking down the street as he sees a man injured. As he goes to help, a car slams into him, knocking him unconscious. Images flash on screen. hinting to the player of the bigger story at hand, plopping us in a dreamlike sequence where taking photos of areas make physical objects appear, finally being awoken by a nasty ass jump scare. Wait a minute. I feel like I've seen this somewhere. Simon wakes up in an alleyway confused on how he got there, and noticeably unharmed by the brutal car accident that just took place earlier. It begins to get dark, however, so Simon doesn't have much time to ponder on it and heads to the subway station where a man is being a little prankster. Oh, never mind, he's just being a fucking asshole. Well, after taking care of him, Simon has a very based reaction.
What the hell? Who was he? I gotta call police.
After killing one enemy, the floodgates seem to open. Undead armed with hammer floods the sewers as Simon makes his escape, doing some painful platforming and ending up in an apartment building. So Bride of Fear is a much longer and much larger game compared to its predecessor, Afraid of Monsters. It's filled to the brim with lore and details and everything in the mix. So moving forward in this video, I'm going to separate each long section of the game, and we're gonna just call them arcs, like anime and manga. So let's call this the Child Hunter arc. Okay? You said it was a stupid name. I know it's a stupid name. Look, I just don't want to say file. I just didn't feel like editing that word out because I feel like every time you say file, your video is going to get demonetized at the speed of sound. So no more saying file.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. Want to tell me why you're here to see a 14-year-old girl?
Back to the game, a mysterious number texts Simon telling him that he needs help. While exploring, you can find up to 4 notes presumably left by the child hunter, each of them pretty much describing the predator's reasons and how he'd go about doing it. Finding the second enemy of the game, a child wearing a garbage bag. I feel like this one is not too hard to correlate the two. I believe these are the many victims of the child hunter, forced to roam the abandoned apartments. While exploring, we get another text telling us to get to the 4th floor, and when we do, this scene plays out.
Did he do this to himself? There's a key in the bathtub.
It seems that he took his own life, pills surrounding his body while the bathtub is filled with his blood. Strange. Who was texting us? Not having too much time to ponder on it, we are jump scared by a screaming lady. But hey, it's okay. She was hiding a heap of rope coil all to herself. Lowering ourselves to the basement section of the apartment, we find a videotape and the contents on it are disturbing. We finally get a face to the murderous child hunter. I guess he was feeling generous, however, and gave us the code to the pin pad. So, thanks, I guess. Once putting it in, the elevator seems to work, and once taking it, we are met with the first boss of the game, Czar. I hate that name. Can we just call him Chainsaw? Chainsaw isn't too difficult to beat. Shoot him a good amount and you'll stun him, giving Simon a chance to shoot his load on his back.
What did you just say?
After his defeat, Chainsaw takes off his own head, causing Simon to puke and pass out in said puke. Simon wakes up only to be greeted by this amazing conversation.
Did I pass out? Huh? Who's that?
Relax. I am not one of them.
Who are you then?
I'm nobody.
What?
You shouldn't be here. It's very dangerous.
Wait, why are you wearing a gas mask?
I used to wear some free.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
Real helpful, dog. Real helpful. Dude fucking skedaddles and Simon gives chase, but to no avail, which plunges us into probably the biggest arc of the game, the goddamn subway station arc. This arc contains so much lore, so get your butt cheeks ready because you'll be clenching them for the next 10 minutes of your life.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Simon makes his way outside and comes across a magazine about depression with a number attached below. Once dialing the number, this is what happens.
Hello? Hello? Who is this? What? What the fuck are you talking about? I need help, please! God damn it! Help me!
Well, wasn't that just helpful? Makes me feel like I was in one of those Trey Rag skits. Anywho, inputting the code into the door, it leads to a sewage-like area, which then leads into a construction zone. Cool Easter egg incoming. Simon has a smoke addiction question mark? So far, the game has shown us quite a bit of evidence regarding Simon's mental state. First off, the way you heal is using morphine, a very strong painkiller. And now look at his wrist every time you heal. There's scars on his wrist. And it doesn't just stop there. Simon calling the depression hotline, and now smoking as a way to relieve stress. It ain't looking so good for our pal Simon. Back to the game, normal people would pick up the shotgun. Not me, I just walked away, right into the next boss.
Holy shit, what are you doing?
After taking care of Mace? Come on, bro. Mace? That's some low-hanging fruit, bro. Now remember, kids, if a big fat bully is coming your way, fucking electrocute them. Then saw them open, there might just be a key in there. This next part is kind of hard to explain, so you'll just have to watch. Needless to say, I shit my pants. Once making it out, Simon is officially in the city, going to the map and planning the path to get home. This will be our next objective for the better part of 3 hours. First step, Simon needs to walk over to Saxon Avenue, and while doing so, encounters a not so fun individual.
Oh shit.
This guy doesn't even have a name just yet, and he's just freakishly fast and actually really fucking scary. If you don't like being chased in video games, then you'll hate this guy.
You bitch!
Simon jumps over the railing, then proceeds to the next area. Simon encounters a floating bedridden patient covered in blood. That's cool. While Simon continues to make his way to Saxon Avenue, he gets a mysterious message from a person who seems to know him.
Hello? I can't hear you. Who is this?
Where are you?
How did you get my number? Can you help me? What the fuck is going on in this town?
I need to speak to you, Simon. I'm up on the roof. On this part.
You're... what? You're up on the roof? I can't hear what you're saying.
After some crazy intense platforming, we get another interesting cutscene.
What the... Sophie? What the hell are you doing here?
Oh, hi, Simon.
What? I don't understand anything now.
What is it that you don't understand?
What do you think? The whole fucking city is crawling with monsters, and I'm just... I mean, suddenly you just turn up on these rooftops? What are you doing here? Are you hurt?
Monsters? Simon, you're scaring me.
Scaring? What the fuck? This is just sick. Well, maybe it's just...
Let's talk about something else. How have you been?
I don't know. I'm just confused.
Not too bad, thank you. Better now that you're here.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here too, Sophie. I've been alone all this time.
I see. Sounds tough.
But what about yourself? Why are you here? Are you hiding up here from those things?
No. I really don't understand what you're talking about. I'm just thinking.
Thinking? Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that too. Do you remember how you got here?
I don't know.
Because I woke up myself, but it wasn't an alley, and... Wait, I can probably show you.
No. Hush, Simon. Can't we just sit here for a while?
Yeah. Sure.
Do you want to know something?
Yes. Yes, I do. I want to know just what in the fuck is going on here. Is it about that doctor guy in the gas mask?
Doctor? Simon, please. No, I mean about school.
Yeah? What?
Well, I don't know if you...
You did have it. I guess. But... oh, shit. Damn, so much stuff has happened lately. All this craziness. The darkness and the monsters. I think I'm going crazy. I'm so glad I found you.
I know. A lot of things have been going on lately.
Yeah, really. Was it you who tried to phone me, by the way?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you. To get away from it all.
Oh, but what? Out here?
No, away from everything. Away from all this.
What? What do you mean?
You know full well what I mean.
Wait a sec, you mean all... No! No, no, no! Sophie, why did she... What the fuck? This isn't making any sense. Was it you who made her do it? Why? Why? You sick fuck!
Once Sophie does the unthinkable, we are faced with yet another boss, the Carcass. And Google put it best: a mutilated being forever tied to a chair. Carcass floats around in the sky, firing ghostly projectiles at Simon without relent. Well said, Google. This is most definitely a carcass chained to a chair. Simon, during this fight you have two choices: kill it or make your escape. Random Games decided to kill it, so we'll see where that leads up to.
Sophie,
Simon, let me go.
I love you, Sophie.
I have to leave. Please,
I fucking love
just
you.
let me go, Simon.
Simon climbs down from the rooftop only to find Sophie's lifeless body. She did not, in fact, stick the landing.
What did you just say?
But she did drop a key card, which allows Simon to make a shortcut through the garage area, then later a school where he finds a fuse. Oops, the lights are off now. Fleshy red corpses don't seem to be very pleased with Simon's action, but Simon could not care any less, shooting them in the face. Bringing that fuse to Saxon Avenue finally and making it to the train station. A big fleshy pile of arms and tentacles is blocking the way. Get train attacked, bitch! Now some of you viewers may be wondering why I hate her so. Well, I purposely cut it out of the video. But here. Yo. I'm gonna shoot you. That's how I solve all my problems. Thank you. Did you? Okay. Alright. They didn't have to animate a whole ass death scene, okay? I thought she moved the car for me. So yes, I fucking hate this thing. With the path now cleared and some imposter venting, Simon finally catches up to the doctor. Simon follows him again, losing track of him, but running into an assortment of different enemies. And this fucking thing, oh my god, there's more of them! In order to get to the doctor, we need to head back to Saxon Avenue and the apartments from the beginning of the game to find 2 more fuses. While back at the apartments, things are different. Very, very different. And while navigating through this nightmarish environment, we actually hear dialogue from the doctor.
He always goes back to the same place day after day, just watching it like it was yesterday. Despite the fact that it causes him tremendous anxiety, he insists on returning. He insists it's for therapeutic reasons, but I remain skeptical. He doesn't respond well to questions about his personal life, and became extremely angry when I mentioned events prior to what he insists on describing as Black Day. His school and home life were no-go topics when discussing these feelings and anxieties. He told me the other day that he'd been seeing hallucinations, but couldn't give a clear description of what he'd been seeing. Naturally, I didn't take him seriously. I saw no evidence to suggest this was the case, but upped his prescription anyway. He claims the extra medication helps.
The doctor was talking about Simon and how he referred to that day of the accident as the Black Day. Not having too much time to ingest the info, we see this fucking thing.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting.
And the good old pal Speedy Gonzalez pays us a visit, but hey, we found our fuse, so we're back to the station we go. Due to some delays, the train isn't working, so we find a freaking sledgehammer and blast through the wall, only to be met with a never-ending slope down. Continuing further, the floor becomes bloodied. Simon's visions begin to blur, coming across a door that'll lead straight into an insane asylum, with a note placed in the middle of the floor. It's a long one, but to summarize it, the note follows a boy who was injured, then bound to a chair for life, leaving him mentally and physically broken. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? Escaping the asylum consists of maze-like patterns, with enemies blocking your... Come on, bro. What is this? Y'all can't tell me this ain't some sexual innuendo.
What do you mean by that?
Once you do escape, we are met with another cutscene.
Yes, he suffered severe spinal damage in the accident. It's a miracle he still retains upper body motion. From the waist down, however, there is no nervous response at all. Not to mention the mental trauma he suffered. From what I can tell, Simon is a deeply disturbed individual who had mental problems even prior to the accident.
Simon, wanting to get out of there ASAP, finally boards the train.
Back to the train. Sitting here like a fool. Feels like it was just a few seconds ago I was traveling here. No, think straight. I got hit by a car, woke up, and these things have been trying to kill me since. I mean, what is actually happening with me? Mom keeps telling me to get home, but why? How would that solve any of the crazy shit I've seen? I can't even contact the police here. Everything is just fucked. Could it be that I'm just hallucinating? No, seriously. Am I? Or is there something else? I keep thinking back at that doctor guy. Well, he is crazy, alright. But could he have done something to me? Seeing as he wears a gas mask. Or is all this just not real? I'm confused. I'm just very confused. So many questions, but no answers. I'll see what happens when I come home.
As much as I would like to say this concludes the Subway Saga, I can't. There is one final fight that remains. Enemies begin breaking into the train cars, causing it to eventually During the crash, Simon loses his bag, forcing him to wander in the forest with a stick and a lantern he found on the way. He finds himself in an abandoned building, then makes his way into a bowling alley, where he finds a mysterious note saying, "There's something strange about Dr. Fernell." Well, the doctor now has a name, and speak of the devil and he shall appear. Simon finally catches to Fernell. You are met with another choice. You can give Fernell the gun, or simply don't trust him. Again, Random Games decided to trust the doctor when this happens.
There's no ammo in the door. Now, give me the key.
You crazy bastard! I'll kill you!
You trust the doctor and you get shot for it. Cool beans. Still, Simon has the key and is able to progress, not taking too long to catch up to him. After an intense game of hide and seek, Fresnel's finally defeated, giving us another flashback.
Simon, the pills by itself won't make you feel better. You have to do something more than that. I recommend that you try a new modern treatment called cognitive therapy.
What's that?
Well, it's a set of exercises you do, a way to forget the past, all the bad memories and anxiety you have. Are you interested in those, Simon?
I don't know. Why?
Alright, I just wanted to find out, because I want you to try out something. I want you to write a book about how you feel. Do you think you can do that?
I guess so. I can try.
Cognitive therapy, huh? Again, before we can ingest the information, Simon fucking stomps his head in. After he was done there, he leaves the building and takes a boat across the lake? Bro, Simon, where do you live? Mans is damn near drowning in underwater canal systems just to get home. Like, bro, what? But Simon does make it back home, so fuck me, I guess. When looking around the house, Simon can't find his mom anywhere.
Mom? Mom! Where are you? Mom! Mom!
Coming across his notebook, the one he used for therapy, triggering another memory. Within this memory, Simon is forced to slowly roll in his wheelchair while fighting a bloodied, much quicker version of himself. When Simon reigns victorious, we are met with our conclusion.
I stopped myself from doing it. From committing suicide. But it didn't only leave me alive. It also left 2 police officers dead. I killed them. Shot them both. This was not supposed to happen. Doctors testified that I was having a psychosis. Which means that my punishment won't be too hard for me to bear. I have to spend the rest of my life in a mental hospital, where nurses and doctors are taking care of me. They let me finish my book, and it has helped me a lot. I wrote a happy ending, just for myself. I feel better now. I am more at peace with myself, even though I'm still stuck in this wheelchair. But I accept that now. I can never forgive myself for shooting those 2 officers though. But I have so many supportive people around me now, so I think I will be okay. Dr. Purnell is mentoring me and is watching my progress. I am lucky to have him. Sophie visits me every once in a while. When the doctors let her, that is. They still think her visits are too destabilizing for me and that it hinders my progress. I keep on telling her how sorry I am for making her life miserable every time she's here. She just laughs a bit and tells me to stop being so silly. But I can see the damage I've done to her in her eyes every time she looks at me. She found a new friend, one who is there for her and treats her right. I'm happy for her, though I'll miss the good moments we've had, knowing that they'll never come back. I think this is a good time to close this book. It has changed my life forever. The end.
And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes Cry of Fear. Amazing, right? A very bittersweet ending for a very bittersweet story. It's about a man traveling through his mental psyche, his inner demons, his inner turmoil, and coming to grips with it at the very end, getting the best ending possible. Well, I didn't do it, it was random games, but you know what I mean. In this specific ending, it does show that Simon resisted the attempt on his life, but in doing so, he shot 2 officers and has to live with that guilt. But going with the doctor and trusting the doctor, he is able to get better help. Sophie's now coming around, and even though their relationship is strained, it still shows that she cares to a certain degree. She has found someone else, and Simon is allowed to actually be happy for her. The other endings, however, are not so happy, and we are going to get into them. However, they can be a bit complex to get to, so I'm going to tell you how you get them and what they can mean for the bigger story at hand. So let's get straight into it. There are 4 choices throughout the game. You can trust the doctor, give him the gun, or don't give him the gun. And while fighting the carcass boss, you can either spare the life or take its life. So the first one we're going to look at is the very, very bad ending, as the community dubbed it. This can be obtained by not trusting the doctor and sparing the life of the carcass.
Dear Diary, this is it. I have ended my miserable life. I couldn't take this shit anymore. Being trapped in a wheelchair for the rest of my damn life is just not worth it. The surgeons told me everything would be okay. They gave me hope, only to crush it under the soles of their feet and watch me destroy myself. They lied to me! They didn't know what it felt like! I thought I could handle my emotions, control them, contain them, prove them all wrong. But I was just too weak. I let it slip through my fingers.
That was depressing. A quick thing to understand about what the carcass and what the doctor represents. Obviously, the doctor that you chase around for the entirety of the game is Dr. Furnell, the person we see in the flashbacks and the person who was given to try to help Simon. And the carcass, I believe, is a physical representation of the worst parts of Simon, or at least what he thinks is the worst parts of himself. That's why it's forever bound to a wheelchair, chained for life, and shoots ghostly projectiles. It's everything he hates about himself, how he can't move, and how he forever views himself as a corpse connected to a wheelchair. And in this ending, he's very angry. He's angry at Sophie. He's angry at the doctors. He's angry at the surgeons. He's angry at everyone and decides to take his own life.
To whoever is reading this, I'm hopefully dead. I just couldn't live this life anymore. My paralyzed legs made me worthless.
and I felt like an outsider ever since the accident. Anxiety and depression controlled my life, and there was no way out of this bottomless pit. My friends looked right past me. My family abandoned me. Nobody wants a cripple, especially one that would need your help. Fucking worthless. The only person that ever tried to help me was my doctor.
That wasn't much better, was it? Much too similar to the very, very bad ending. The bad ending has all the same playing parts. Simon blowing his brains out, him taking Sophie with him. The only thing that's different is that he sounds less angry and more sad. Rejected by life, failed by his friends, his family, because he, in his words, was fucking worthless. But in this ending, since you decided to trust the doctor with the gun, that means in the physical real world, Simon decided to trust in the doctor with his medication and try this cognitive therapy. Obviously, he couldn't take it in the end and still decided to take his own life. But at least he had one person that he truly understood that tried to help him.
Finally, it's all over. By the time you are reading this, you will find my dead body covered in blood, with my head blown to bits. I know you might think I'm not, or wasn't, normal. I was crippled, stuck in a wheelchair, and that's why I had to die. I was broken, defective, full of emotional problems. My mind was stuck in a never-ending loop of anxiety, depression, and despair. A roller coaster with no end, and I wanted out so bad. This book writing tip was fucking bullshit. It only made me realize how truly fucked my life was. Ironic how that one person who was actually paid to help me only made it worse. Gave me that one last push, which was needed for me to end myself. And now he's dead. It's almost poetic. The only person who tried to help me was my only friend, Sophie. Please, tell her I'm sorry. I wish her all the best.
And that was not much better than the other two endings. Why do I keep thinking otherwise? This one, dubbed by the Cry of Fear community, is called The Sad Ending. And, well, like the name entails, it is pretty sad. It's very similar to the other endings. Simon still takes his life, but in his suicidal note, he actually despised the doctor, but chooses to forgive Sophie. Afraid of Monsters and Cry of Fear, as I stated at the very beginning of the video, if you can remember that far back, was about narratives obsessed with pain. And I know when I say that, it just sounds overly complicated, but I truly hope you can look past that complicated look, because I'm bad at explaining these things. But when I say that they're obsessed with pain, I believe I mean that these games reflect the human experiences. Everything that's good will come to an end. Life is only life because the only guaranteed thing is you will die at the end of your road. If you fall in love with someone, that loved one, I'm sorry, I'm tearing up, Jesus. That loved one will eventually die. And I believe that is what Afraid of Monsters and Cry of Fear are trying to expand on. But let me explain. For example, Afraid of Monsters, what is that? What's the story of Afraid of Monsters at its most simplest point? It's about a man who's afraid of himself. He's afraid of what he can do while he's on the pills. He's afraid of monsters. Instead of monsters, he's truly just saying that he's afraid of himself because he is the monster. The final boss, the addiction, was his monsters, and that's what he was afraid of. It's a very black and white story. And I believe it's that way because, well, one, as I failed to tell you guys at the very beginning of the game, or of the video, this dude was 12 years of age. Rumple? Yeah, he was 12 years old developing this motherfucking game. So I believe there was a maturity level that was just kind of gone. But that's why I said Afraid of Monsters is the game that crawled, which allowed Cry of Fear to run. Because now think of it. What is Cry of Fear about? It's not so easy to explain now, right? Simpler terms, it's a schizophrenic patient battling with depression and of the incident, the Black Day, and we go through his inner turmoils and inner demons and all to figure out that it's spawned from his cognitive therapy. You could look at it for sure, but I think there's a more complex story at hand in Cry of Fear, and I believe this is really what I mean by obsessed with pain. To live life, you need to first live through rejection. The word no is a very prevalent thing in Simon's world. He was denied the fact to walk due to someone else's inability to drive. The surgeons telling him that it'll be okay, but just lying to his face. No, you can't walk. Sophie rejecting him, his family's rejecting him, everyone rejecting him. No is a terrible part in his psyche, and I believe Cry of Fear really dives deep on the complexities. It's not so black and white like Afraid of Monsters is. No, there isn't just I'm afraid of myself, let me love myself, I'll survive. No, due to some experiences, humans are very complex creatures, and it's shown through Simon. For example, the game bashes you on the head if you're too dependent on Sophie. And all of the times you let that obsession in your heart sink in, the carcass, the inner demon of the inner turmoil of Simon, you always kill Sophie. You're too dependent on her to the point where when you want to take your life, she's coming with you. But then spin it around, sometimes you need a little bit of extra help. Trusting in the doctor will allow you to go to therapy, get better. And when you do the two things, when you become independent and forgive Sophie for not liking you back, and trusting the doctor is only when the human experience is better. He's truly grateful for the people that are in his life. He's truly grateful for Sophie. He's happy for her. He's happy and grateful for Dr. Furnell. And that's only because he went through that inner turmoil. As stated in the game, Dr. Furnell believes that Simon had already had depression before. And that makes sense because in the beginning of the game, Simon is shown already looking depressed. And then only getting hit and losing his ability to walk, it's only going to worsen it. So when I say Afraid of Monsters and Cry of Fear are narratives on pain, I truly mean Cry of Fear and Afraid of Monsters is the human experience. To love, to lose, to laugh, to cry, and to hate. That is the human experiences. There is no black and whites. Afraid of Monsters is far from the truth. But A Cry of Fear drives it home to its viewers, to its individuals who play the game. It's not so simple. It's a complex matter. Depression isn't just killing an inner part of you. It's learning that inner part of you, growing with that inner part of you, recognizing that you're not well, and doing things differently so that way you can get better. I think that is the yin and yang that Afraid of Monsters and Cry of Fear bring to the table. Thank you.